Alright, welcome to Video Diary 4, I think. The final Video Diary. It is 5 AM and the time it is due in 7 or 9 hours. So, unfortunately, I can't get more done than I have done now. Which means that I do feel like I've let myself down when it comes to visuals. That 2 week destruction of my hard drive didn't help matters, but I've done what I can to bring back what I had. It doesn't look as good in my opinion, but there's no frame of reference for you guys, unfortunately, so there's no point in dwelling on that too much. I am quite happy with how much I managed to get storyline wise. I didn't get sound that I wanted into the game. Like at the beginning, I wanted you to have the sound of wading through water because you're in the water, and I didn't have time to get that in, unfortunately. There's a few other things that are missing, but at the beginning, my original want was that you'd start in here and then there'd be a gate, and you'd step through the gate whilst having the story told to you, and the gate would close and lock behind you. But there's a lack of gate assets, so I couldn't use a gate there, and I didn't have time to get the voice recordings in place or anything like that. So instead, when you start up the game, it's going to play a movie sequence. The movie sequence is just a black screen with text to explain why you're here and what your goal is. I've explained the story before, which is you're being chased by bounty hunters. A friend of yours called to say that he wants to rendezvous at the bank where he can take you to a safe haven. So that's all done in text on a black screen, and then it fades in with you stood vaguely in this location. I'm just going to go around the level and show what I've achieved. And I realised after watching over my previous diaries that I've not been referencing any of the assets that I've used. So all of the asset packs that I've used are going to be in the video description of this video. Hopefully I'll have time to have it reference them properly, but if not, at the very least they will be listed with a link to the marketplace for the Epic Launcher. But you'll come down this long straight edge here and come up where you've got the weenie demonstrated. You'll cross the road and get to this, which isn't passable because the building lights will originally be off, which forces you to come round and through the alleyways. Now in the final build that I've just finished doing and I've zipped up now, it took quite a long time, and then I realised that the light here that's supposed to draw the player's eye is gone. So either I deleted it by accident, or it was in a previous build that I've lost on my hard drive and I didn't replace it. But you should have a light coming through this window here, this window, into the alleyway to highlight it as somewhere that you can go, because at the moment it looks pretty dark. And the grass kind of catches your eye, but that's because it doesn't work very well with the lights, or doesn't play ball properly. But I do wish that I'd noticed that before I built, so that I could fix that issue. The light is also incredibly dark in this area. There is a light on the player character that shines out at an attenuation of 1500, a low intensity, so that as you walk through here, you'll be able to see the details of the walls and things. That's done intentionally. It's like when you've got very low lights as you're walking around in real life, your eyes adjust to things that are close by, so you can see details even though it's incredibly low light. So I wanted to kind of simulate that, and I couldn't figure out how to do it in the post-processing effect without making it so that you could see that this building and this building, for instance, are still just boxes and not they don't have props on them. The zigzagging through the gardens, I think, definitely could have been done better, because there is a path here that you can walk all the way down to the end before you get stuck, and then you got to turn around and come back. You get you don't get stuck. Sorry, you get blocked by bushes and things. I realised afterwards that I could potentially have just left that clear to allow the player to go past the garden, giving multiple routes through. But for some reason I didn't. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it was just to cause the player to zigzag back on itself. But I've done some decorating of the gardens. I did have ivy plantation pots on the on the fences, with ivy plants hanging down. But for some reason that prop was causing a build error and prevented me from being able to build lights at all. It kept saying that Swarm was kicked out, so I had to remove those. That took about 5 hours to figure out what was wrong with that. So you come round and you've got the affordance of the planks leading you over the wall, which also leads to a point where you can get back, so it's a point of no return. You come round in here, and unfortunately these are still grey box, because I completely forgot about them until the very last second, when it was just too late to do anything about them. You flick the switch, open the door and come through. I've had a few people playtesting, and I've found out that apparently you can open this door from this side, which kind of negates the whole back end of this area, because at the beginning you can just walk down this staircase, come up to the door and just open it, and then come in and flick the switch. I didn't know that. If I did, it would have been fixed, but in the version that you'll be playing, that'll be broken. Once you flick the switch and made your way back round up the stairs and across the road, this automatic door will open and you'll be able to come in here. Here we've actually got a carpet which has a different audio effect for when you're walking, because out here everywhere is stone. Even in the dirt landscape, for some reason it sounds like you're walking on stone. But here it sounds, I think the audio file is called Dirt, but it does sound different. It was the closest audio file that I could find in the Horror Engine that sounded right for this. And then as you come out of this door, you'll pass through a trigger box which blocks you from going past either this trash bin or the van. No matter what you do, you will get locked in place. Your character will stop moving. You can still look around, but you'll stop moving and it'll play an audio file, and then you'll see the last in-game cinematic, or the only in-game cinematic technically, but the final part of the game, and then it'll quit you out. So there are a few bugs with this version. I've already mentioned that there's no sounds of footsteps in water or wading through water. There's no water sound effects. Ambient sounds are pretty much entirely missing. The only sounds you really get are footsteps, and then in that final cinematic I pieced together using multiple sound effects, which will all be referenced in the video description again, to create a 12-second audio clip that makes the end cinematic actually feel better. I'm quite proud of that ending. It took me about 5 or 6 hours to get the audio file built, and the effects that you'll see when you play through the level. There's multiple grey box surfaces, like the ceiling in here and the staircase, that I just didn't have time or completely forgot about for the final build. So there's no excuses for that other than whoops, sorry. Other bugs, the big one that amuses quite a lot of people is I didn't remove jump properly on the character, because I'm using the Horror Engine character. So what I did was, because I wanted to avoid people jumping over these walls and hurting themselves, because you can take damage from falling, I completely reduced the jump height to 0. But when you jump, obviously when you hit the ground, it plays a landing animation, which means now if you spam space whilst in the level, your character's view will start jutting all over the place and it looks kind of funky. I had, I think, 6 or 7 different people playtest, but the feedback I got from them came so late into development that most of it I couldn't react on. As I said, it's like 5:05 in the morning now, and I'm due to post this by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I just didn't have time to work on a lot of the things that they told me. Again, things like being able to go through this door, the missing light for guidance of the player, and a few other things that hopefully won't be obvious or noticeable in the final build when you play through it. But yeah, I think overall it's not polished, but it is demonstrative of a final version of the game. I wish I'd had time to have the cinematic at the beginning that I wanted. I wish I'd had time to bring in audio effects and things, but overall I am quite happy with the outcome. I'm just very frustrated that 2 weeks of work was lost, which means that the visuals aren't quite up to scratch. But yeah, thank you for watching, and all references will be in the video description. Bye.